Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the AnCan Art Friends. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I am being Sal because Hannah featured our last month's art by having Sal dancing, and it was great. We loved it. Everybody loved it. We got great feedback about it. So a couple of things before we get started. First of all, last month on Solo Arts Hero, we had Karen Broder, which was fantastic, one of our art friends. If you've not seen it, we're going to put it in the video description below. Fan-freaking-tastic. You should watch it. Great job, Karen. Second of all, we have a new art class coming to AnCan in addition to this. I won't go into too much detail right now because we're going to get to the actual art class right now. Stay tuned, but it will be an open format. It will not be recorded. So if you like to join our classes online, but maybe the recording puts you off, this might be something you might be interested in, but we're still going to have we still have like closed caption and stuff like that. So it'll be great to join in. And yes, we have a lot of exciting things. So Hannah, I find this to be a little interesting, okay? Because tonight's project is a campfire. I was just at camp myself, okay? And I wondered if this project was a camp incident. So you can maybe share some of the inspiration about it
Yeah,
and get
of
us going.
course.
Thank you.
Of course. I like your use of the word camp incident.
Thank you. Thank you. That was
Yes.
planned. I did practice this, so it was not on the fly.
No, no. Well, okay, so the inspiration for this project was typical summertime activities because anybody who's talked to me for more than 5 minutes will know that I love to be outside. I love the idea of like going camping, and I don't know, when I was a kid, I never really got that like classic summer camp experience for kids. Um, the only camping experience I've had is in my adult life, and so it's just I love like looking around the fire, and I wanted to bring something a little bit different to our painting experiences. I wanted to maybe bring in a palette knife painting or some other element to it. So I found that this painting or this kind of painting was really great because I could bring in palette knife paint a palette knife into the painting experience. But I also found that just as I was painting this, that this some of this texture just calls for finger painting of all things. So I thought, okay, all right, this is going to be our project. We're going to do painting. We're going to do a little bit of palette knife painting too. So it's just I don't know, I just wanted to do something a little bit different with different materials. So I hope you guys enjoy this project today. We're going to create this fireside campsite scene. Honestly, I thought about making a green fire. So if anybody wants to make like a green fire or like a purple fire, something totally different, please feel free to do that. Just substitute colors. That's all you have to do. Okay. I just thought it was a really cool idea because I was thinking of Harry Potter also when I was doing this and green fire. So anyway, we can get started now. I'll go ahead and go over the art supplies that we'll need because I did mention palette knife. So this is going to be the palette knife that I'm going to be using today. The kind of palette knife you use doesn't really matter so much. Just as long as it's comfortable, it should be fine because we're going to be doing some of this kind of motion, and then also using the straight edge here to create some of those lines as well, those thinner streaks. So as long as it's comfortable, you should be good. And of course, I have my classic brushes, the ones that I use pretty often here. So we have the 3/4 inch flat brush, and then also the size number 8. I think it's a number 8 or a number 6 round brush. Just somewhere in that ballpark, you should be fine. I may or may not bring out a smaller brush. I don't remember if I used a much smaller brush, but I'll at least have it on hand if we need it. So possible smaller, tiny round brush. So those are our supplies. And of course, we're going to want some water and some napkins, as well as something to pour your paints out on. So I of course have my little palette, but you can have like a paper plate or a foam plate. Any sort of like harder, non-porous surface will do just fine. As for canvas, this canvas is an 8-inch by 10-inch canvas. However, I am actually going to be painting on a 9 by 12. So anywhere along those lines is totally fine. Even if you have your own size, like a different size, that's totally fine too, whatever you're comfortable with. So I'll be using the 9 by 12 for this one. I think when I did this one, I just happened to have the 8 by 10s, and so I just used that one. It's easily scaled upwards. So let's get into colors. So of course we're going to need our white paint. So I got white, and then of course I have the colors of my flame, my campfire. So yellow, orange, red. There's just a tiny little bit of red. You can't really see it too much, but it's at the edge there. We also have pink, so it's supposed to represent this heat out here. Just a splash of pink. We also have some purple. So again, just to add extra color into the background. We also have blue. So the blue is going to help to bring out our other colors. It's going to help to bring out the orange and the yellow too. And then of course we have the background colors. So that's going to be black, brown, and maroon. Okay, now if you don't have like a maroon or a burgundy or a wine color, that is okay. I am actually going to teach you how to create that color. So, but if you have that color on hand already, then you're good. You don't have to do any extra work like we're going to do, because we're going to mix that color. In fact, we're going to be able to create that burgundy / maroon using red and black and brown. So these 3 colors. I think I got it all. If you happen to be doing a different, interesting colored flame, like green, okay, hint, hint, it would be amazing if somebody did green. Just know that there is a very white light portion of our flame, and then there's the middle portion, the middle color, so that's going to be yellow. It's going to be your next lightest color. And then the next portion is going to be a little bit darker than that, which is going to be our orange in this case. And then very, very last is our very subtle red color. So if you're going to do green, then just mix a little bit more, a little bit less white with each consecutive section. And I'll get more into that in a little bit. Okay, I'll get into that later. Does anybody have any questions? I don't think I missed anything. So do you guys have questions for me before we begin?
I got a quick question, Hannah. I don't have brown. Is that going to be a problem?
Brown, no, I don't think so. Because I mentioned that we're gonna have that maroon in the background. So for you, in order to lighten up some of these areas, just mix a little bit of like purple, or if you have like another neutral color, that's fine too. So you don't absolutely need brown.
Well, orange and green will make brown.
Oh yeah, that's right. Orange and green will make brown. You can even throw in some red in there. That'll make some brown too.
Thank you.
With a little bit of black. Yeah. A lot, just throw them all together and you'll get brown. Any other questions? Okay, all right. You guys are fantastic. Let's do this. So I'm going to use my canvas here. As you can see, I've tried to paint over it with white paint. So, because I like to reuse my canvases if they don't work out later. I'm going to go ahead and pour out some of my paints now. We're going to start off with the background first. So we're going to spend not very much time on the base coat of our background. So that's going to be the black plus the maroon. I want to like swing through the base coat of that background. That way we have plenty of time to add our colors. And our background, we're going to be pushing and pulling colors just depending on how you feel about it. Because I had to rework the colors. Maybe in one spot, I put a little bit too much purple. Maybe I didn't really like having so much purple in one spot, so I covered it up with a little bit more of my background color. Or vice versa. Maybe I had a little bit, maybe it's a little bit too dark in some spot. And so I added a little bit more of any of my other popping colors back here. So it's very much a push and pull. So I wanted to give plenty of time for that portion of the painting because it's the background and we have a lot of like dancing colors in the background here. So I wanted to give you guys time to focus on that. So the very first thing we'll do is we'll create our maroon. So I'll just pour out my black paint and then my red and my brown. So we'll need a pretty good amount of both of these colors. So there's my black. I think this one's getting kind of old. I am going to pour out a pretty good amount of brown as well, because like I said, we are going to use a good amount of it. I'll have separate piles for each color, and then I'll do all my mixing in the middle. Just so I can have them separate for a little bit. Come on, red. It's also getting old. Don't forget to shake up your colors, because sometimes it needs that. There we go. Like I said earlier, if you happen to have a maroon or a burgundy of some kind, then you're all set. You don't have to do this portion. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my round brushes simply for mixing. I'm not going to use this brush to paint on the background. I'm just going to mix using this brush. The brown is going to be our main color, our base for this particular color. So I'm going to scoop up a bunch of this brown. So like I said, I want a lot of paint. I mean, I could also pour my own separate pile. Silly me. I've got a good amount there, and I will just grab maybe one little scoop.
Is this going to be a brick color?
Yeah, this is my brick brown / maroon color. So I'm mixing in my red with it. And I'm also going to mix in a little bit of black paint because that black paint is very strong. So for you, Karen, you would just need to go straight into finding a maroon.
Yeah, I did. And I think I even found that cherry red, but it just didn't want to.
Oh, the one you were looking for yesterday. Okay, now for me, I feel like it's not red enough, so I'm gonna grab a bunch more. A lot of mixing, it's just about eyeballing. So you eyeball your paint pile. Try to contain it as much as you can. It can be kind of hard with the more paint you're using, but I'm just kind of scraping it towards the middle and squishing it in. So I think I'll add a little bit more red to that. And again, I'm going to pour out the red into this separate little section here. That way I can control a little bit more. I can control how much more red goes into the pile. There we go. Let's take some more. It's getting all messy. A little bit more than that now. Now it's coming to life. It's becoming more of like that maroon or burgundy color. Bit more red, and I think I should be good. Now, once we actually,
Does burgundy happen to have a little bit of blue in it or no?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Don't you think
Like a
people,
little bit of purple?
don't you think people could debate what is burgundy?
You could, yeah, honestly.
What exactly is burgundy?
Yeah, honestly, like burgundy just depends on who you ask what it is. So if you feel like it needs a little bit of purple and you'd like it with a little bit more purple, then by all means add it. I know in the screen,
It looks purple.
it does look more purple. I didn't add any purple. And it's kind of weird that it does that. It still looks a little purple, but I didn't add any purple. It's more red on my end.
Well,
Mine
how
looks
do
the
you
same
know?
as yours.
Never mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always feel like if it just makes sense to you, or if you would rather have a certain color mixed into it, then go for it. There we go. Definitely doesn't have to be precise though. Whenever I add whenever I start painting the background color, we are using black paint, but it's actually black paint mixed with this burgundy color. And I do want to have this separate from the darker version of this that we're going to mix, because we are going to have some of this to put into the background. So what you see here, that's just the burgundy on top of the black. This down here as well. Okay, so I'll give you guys another minute or so to mix that up. And I want to say I went back and forth between adding a little bit more black, or maybe a little bit more of the burgundy color to the background. I want to say that's what I did.
Is it
Now I
possible
am.
to see if this, is it possible to see if this color looks right?
If I mean, maybe. I know
Let me
every
see.
camera is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Where are you, Marcy? There you are, Marcy.
Can you see that color?
Yes, so
Is
far so good. Yeah,
Is
so
that-
far it does look the same.
Did
I
you
don't
put
know what
blue in
burgundy
it?
looks like anymore.
Did you put any blue in it or any purple?
It's just black and brown and red.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
I was just thinking burgundy might have a bit of purple. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't even know if this is maroon anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on who makes the color.
I think when you said brick brown, I was like, okay,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, anywhere along those lines, you should be good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring a little bit more. I'm gonna make a little bit more of this maroon color, but it's gonna be much darker this time. So I'll go ahead and grab my red. Maybe I'll put it over here. I don't need quite as much because I'm gonna be jumping around from color to color. So this is a darker version of your maroon. So I got my red, I got my brown, got a pretty good amount of black. I still want to be kind of conservative with the black though, because it's still a very strong color. There we go. I think I need to add a little more red, and then I think I'll be good.
Hannah, I just like to add a note. It's very relaxing watching you mix colors.
It's so fun too. There we go. I can definitely see some blue added to this. I think that might make more of like be more of a plum color if I added blue to it, which still would be really pretty.
Yeah, that's right. Plum.
Yeah, plum color.
oh, then we could debate whether the plum color is really a plum color.
Is it wine? Is it wine? Is it plum? What is it? But honestly, you could argue that there's tons of plum in this background too. Like especially in the sides here and wherever I put the purple here.
I had a reddish color car, and I was going to a music camp, so you had to
Mhm.
register your car, so they knew there was a buyer, whose car it was. They
Oh
said,
yeah.
what color's your car? And there was like waiting in the queue. And I went, candy apple red. No, no, cranberry. No, raspberry. No, cranberry. That's what it is. It's cranberry.
I wouldn't be surprised if their next question was, "Are you an artist? Is that why it's so difficult?"
Yeah, but even when I tell you, right, candy apple red, raspberry, or cranberry, right?
Yeah.
Is that the same as burgundy? It's not.
I wouldn't think so. We could debate this a lot. Or is it the same as fire truck red?
Yeah, that's kind of obvious, but not really.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of scrape as much of this paint. I don't like to waste paint, so I do this a lot where if I have my mixing brush, I'll just kind of paint my painting brush with the color. That way I don't waste any paint. I don't
Hannah,
like to do that. Yes.
so the first color we mixed is a maroon. The second color, what would you call it?
Mm, should we call it plum? No, because it's not purple.
It's
Look what
dark,
you've done, Karen.
Well,
Dark.
wait, so do you have 3 colors or the second color?
So she's talking about the darker version of the maroon. So what would we call it then? We call it like
I don't know. I can't tell. The one that
wine.
has the blue in it?
No, there's no blue in it. That's dried paint. That's
Oh.
not actually mixed. I'll call it wine. Does that make sense?
Okay.
White
Okay.
wine?
I
not gonna
would
go-
see it like as a dark eggplant. This is like so interpretive.
It really is.
Yeah, we do.
Kind of fun though. I just bought an eggplant at the store. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my flat brush now. And I actually want to create a basic shape for my what is it, my flame, my campfire. So as you can see in the original, if I were to maybe squint my eyes a little bit and maybe make it to where I can't really see like all the detail around it, it's actually a teardrop shape. So we're going to draw that teardrop shape and paint all around it. So that's its very basic shape. It's a teardrop shape. So right in the center of your canvas. And you're welcome to use your flat brush. I know I said I'm sorry, you're welcome to use your round brush, your mixing brush, to draw it out if that's easier for you. Because I know I said that we're gonna move on to the flat brush, but if it is easier for you to draw with the other one, then feel free to do so. It really just depends on you. So I know I just rinsed my brush, but I don't need to do
And
that.
we're using the first color for this?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and use the first color. So I'm going to set this aside. There we go. Okay. So yes, even if you have a little bit of the other color on your brush, that's okay. You can just kind of, we're going to get all mixy with all the colors. So don't worry about rinsing your brush in between.
Okay.
So you can use your flat brush or you can use your round brush. I'm going to go ahead and draw a teardrop shape in the middle. So for me, whenever I draw the teardrop shape, I like to start with the pointy part first. And then if you want to trace it out, you certainly can. You can trace it with your finger. If you're using your flat brush, then you can use the flat edge of the brush to just kind of go around. I always like to start out a little bit bigger at first. That way, if I need to make it smaller, it's a lot easier to make it smaller. You can't exactly like make it bigger, because we've got all this paint out here. But you can certainly make it smaller if you need to. I probably will make it a little bit smaller. Just kind of modify this edge here. And then I think I'm good.
What do you mean when you say smaller?
Just kind of bring in the sides a little bit, like draw a little bit, put a little bit more paint in the middle.
And
or
then you're gonna
closer
put
to.
like the black over the
Now
extra
the
burgundy that you don't want.
well the center is going to remain white for now. So whenever we move on into the background, it's going to be everything outside of this. If that makes sense. I just got my teardrop shape, and we're not going to put anything inside of it yet. Not until we actually are ready to paint the actual fire.
All right, now, is that the plum or the, I was playing around with colors, so is that the plum? No, the wine?
It's the burgundy. Maroon, burgundy, same thing. Same thing in my head.
Looks brown to me. Even mine looks brown.
If it looks a little too brown, then maybe you can add a little bit more red to it, and that'll balance it out. It'll brighten it up, I should say. Add more red to it.
I have so much red already. Let's do a big dab. A big dab will do it.
Any other questions I can answer, you guys? We could go on all day about these color names.
People have jobs.
Yeah,
Up with those things.
I always thought that
Sure,
sounds
I
so
get
fun.
confused about colors.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it would be really fun to work for like a paint company called like a Sherwin-Williams or something, and come up with the names for these colors. You know, before I got MS, actually, I was pretty good at differentiating between like subtle differences between colors. These days I can't really do that so much, not as much at least.
Well, apparently we're all affected by colors, whether we realize it or not. I was watching this video. They were actually talking about green light therapy. He was like, it's not the same thing as like they've done lots of studies. We know that certain colors make you feel a certain way. That's why a hospital is always going to be like a light green or a light blue with
Oh
white
yeah.
or off-white walls, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But this is more about, so that I just found very interesting, like that, and he was talking about how much research has gone into it. But then, you know, his real talk was about green light therapy and people with fatigue feeling better with
Hmm.
green light, spending like an hour or more in a room
Interesting.
with the green LED light.
That's interesting. Huh.
I don't think they make
I
Just
hospitals green anymore, though. Do they?
maybe
Or many of us have been in these hospitals. I know when I go to the clinic. So it's like, who was thinking about this? They have like weird shapes and weird colors. It's like, I'm not confused enough.
I don't know. I don't like it when I don't see very many pictures on the walls. What am I supposed to
right.
look at while I'm waiting for the doctor?
Oh no, you wouldn't like my house.
I know. But your house
Yes.
is not a doctor's office, so
Yeah, I mean,
No, and you have windows breaking up the
yeah,
space, you know.
that's true. I have a
exactly.
lot of
It's not
windows.
concrete walls that are just
Yeah.
blank. That makes me feel more prison-y.
Okay, guys. So anytime you're ready, after you've created your teardrop shape, we can actually start to color in the background now. So I'm just gonna stick with this very first color that we mixed up, the maroon color. So I'll go ahead and take this color and fill up my brush with it. That first maroon color. And we can just start casually painting the background here. For me, because I'm using a canvas that's not new, you'll be able to see my brush strokes very, very easily, much more easily than if this was a newer canvas. So I'm just showing you that, you know, there might be differences between what you see on your canvas and what I'm seeing. But all I want to do is give it a nice little base layer of this maroon color. Now, my brush strokes, I just want to practice brushing up and down like this. You don't have to totally stick with painting this way up and down. Like you can definitely move your brush strokes around your teardrop on the bottom here. But for the background up here, later on, we're going to have some brush strokes that go up and down like this. So you can just practice it right now if you want to. I'm gonna add this at the
Looks maroon.
top. I'm sorry?
Once you spread it on the canvas, it looks maroon. It doesn't look
Yeah,
good when, you know, but once you get it on there, it's maroon, all right.
Yeah. So that's good. And as you did you did a good job mixing it. Down here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this color down here. This is gonna get a lot darker in a moment here. For now, it's just nice to have this base layer of that maroon. All right. Has anyone done anything fun or creative since the last time we met? I know, of course, you guys had the open art studio last week. I should have just popped in. I wish I would have just popped in.
You were resting. You were doing what you needed to do.
That's true. I was so much more nasally than I am today.
So last weekend, a friend of mine is in a band and his son is in another band. And so we had the two bands play and had a little party, and we raised $1,300 for the National MS Society.
Amazing. 1,300. That's fantastic. Yeah, that is really cool. What kind of music?
Just rock and roll cover bands, mostly like from the 90s.
Nice.
Whatever they're allowed to play for free and don't have to worry about copyright on.
Yeah. Super cool though. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it was really fun. It was so hot. So
okay,
hot.
So it's outdoors.
I forgot all my cooling things. I have multiple things. So I got just a kitchen towel, got it damp, put it in the freezer. And then when the music started, I left the air conditioning, went out to listen to the music. And it was so funny because there was somebody on the deck. They're like, what is that? Because it was just sticking straight out because it was frozen. And I was like, oh, feel it. And he touched it and it was so cold. He was like, I want one of those. That's mine.
It's yours. No touchy.
Was that at your house?
Where was it, Andrea?
Huh?
Where was it, Andrea?
It was in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay, was it like a bar setting or like
it was actually in my friend's backyard.
Oh, your friend's backyard. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, we had a really good time.
Oh, I love that.
So a good thing to keep cool are making use the cold water and then put a few drops of peppermint oil and then towels in there, wring them out, put them in a Tupperware, put them in your fridge. And then if you're doing yard work or you're out doing that, concert, You have it behind your neck. It's really refreshing.
Great idea. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about
It
that.
basically saved my Saturday night. If it
Oh,
hadn't been for that, I would have missed most of the show, and
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
it just would have
hopefully the
not been.
mosquitoes bad.
But yeah,
Huh?
just and even after you take the towel off, you have that cooling of the peppermint oil, and it's just it
Right.
cools you down. And behind the neck is really good because it really helps. Anyway,
One of my friends there had this thing that she hung around her neck, and she just called it a neck air conditioner because it's not just a fan blowing air at you. Somehow it cools the air down. And it comes out the back, and it just hits you kind of in the front neck here. I tried it. It didn't go in my face and my eyes because that drives me nuts. So I'm looking. She said $20 on Amazon, and honestly, I haven't looked it
Wow.
up yet, but I'm about ready to start getting Christmas presents for everybody.
Yeah.
At least everybody who lives in a warm place.
Yeah,
have
isn't
one of
Amazon
those.
Prime Day soon?
I have one of
Right.
them. They're really good.
Oh yeah, you like it? You give it a
Yeah.
thumbs up?
I'll give it
Awesome.
2 thumbs. Yep. I
Nice.
can try to see if I can find it and link it for you guys. I got it on Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm gonna start to paint the outer portions of my canvas using that darker color. That, what do we call it? What did we decide to call it? Wine? Is it wine?
No,
Um,
it's just brown.
It's not brown. It's the other color that we mix that's darker, where we mix the.
Oh gosh, how many colors are you talking about now?
Oh, it's just the other one. This one right here. So I'm just gonna call it wine. So the darker version of our maroon, the white, the wine. I'm gonna start out here, so closer to my
Well,
my
then
corners.
Then what was the other one? So the teardrop
The
was purple and the background
uh
was
the teardrop was that maroon.
okay, but then
Mhm.
what was the background?
Same thing, same color, just exact same color.
And then where's the brick?
So when I mentioned brick, it's really just I was naming colors like maroon and burgundy and brick brown because it's along the lines of the color that we're looking for if you have it already pre-made. So we're not actually using brick brown. We're using maroon. So it's the color that where we mix these three together, but it's just maroon. So I made the teardrop with this color, and then I colored the entire background with that maroon, that same color. So now we're taking that other color where we darkened it. So we darkened up our maroon color. Karen, if you were to look
I'm
at,
just giving myself permission to not get it. It's just too much.
no, I'm wondering, I'll show you in a minute. I have the tablet next to me.
No, it's okay. I mean, I have colors that I made, but then
Yeah.
instead of 3 colors, you made 4 colors. It sounds like.
I made 2 colors. I made the maroon and I made the wine color. So there's the maroon here. That was the very first color, and then all I did was add extra black to that same maroon, and so I'm calling it wine. I know it looks like there's a lot of colors on there, but I really only made 2. So that darker color, that wine color, that second one we made, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the corners here, and I'm going to make my way towards the teardrop here. Once I start to lose that color, I don't need to really reapply it so much. See how I ran out of color the closer I got to it. So I don't really need to reapply more of that dark color. And as a result, it kind of looks a little bit lighter on the edge of it. I haven't added any down here. I will in a second. I'm going to add more of this color. So take that same wine color. And then I'll jump over here to the other two corners, and I'll do the same thing. Just kind of wrapping around the bottom. And I don't really feel the need to make any more because we're about to add a little bit of black paint to darken it even more. So I'm putting this color all the way around it. That way it's a little bit lighter. It gives almost like a halo around the teardrop. Because I didn't feel like I needed to have this color go all the way up to the teardrop. Just once I ran out of it, then I ran out of it and it was okay.
And then there's gonna be a brown? I mean, I see 1, 2, 3, I see 5 colors on your thing, and besides the blue. So I'm confused.
So these colors, all of these, I just mixed them. So don't even look at the blue because we didn't even use blue.
You're looking at the blue, right?
Okay, good. So these were all the colors that I just mixed together in order to create the maroon.
And then what's on the opposite side?
So this is that same maroon, but with a little bit more black. So that's all that is. I just took this maroon and I added more black to it, and that's how I got it darker. So for you, you really only need 2 colors right now, for right now. The maroon and then the darker version of it where I added black.
And the darker version goes
in the corners. In the corners. Paint all over my hands now.
Blends nice, doesn't it?
What was that?
It blends really well because they're so related, the colors.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in.
Yeah, it kind of eases it in. Yeah, whenever we jump to the next part, we will be going back and forth from black to maroon, like back and forth, and making it a little bit darker, but also balancing it out with more maroon color. So I'll show you that in a little bit.
So I need to make more of that maroon.
Yeah, I would say make some more if you're running out. Yeah, I did use quite a lot of it. I definitely used all of my wine color here, that darker maroon. I would say for that darker maroon, go ahead and make a little bit more of that if you ran out of that, because sometimes it's too easy to add too much of the black paint. So go ahead and make more of the dark maroon if you need to. So it's that second color.
But it's pretty much gonna look opaque, right? With a little
yeah.
variation.
Yeah, like as you can see here, like it's still a very dark background. So we are going to add a lot more.
It looks like blue in the background.
Yeah, we'll add that later. Yeah, the blue and the purple and the pink we'll add much later. I shouldn't say much later.
Yeah,
not that much later. Yeah, no, not quite. Yeah, so I am gonna make a bit more of that much darker maroon color. Come on. Oops. Okay, I think I'll use this one. Make some more of this really dark color. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that color. I always love it when I get the color right on the first try. Hooray. Okay, so I've made more of that dark maroon. Now, as you can see with the regular one, the corners are very dark, and even the sides here, they're very dark. And I know that you can see some blue on top of it, and you can see pink, you can see purple. Those colors will come later. Later on, I even added a bit of extra maroon on top of it. So I'm gonna lump that in with like the blue and all those other bright colors. We're gonna go back and forth between these three colors. So the black and the maroon and the really dark maroon. And we'll push and pull the background a little bit. So we'll make it darker in the corners and then much closer to the flame here. But then I'll also throw in some maroon as well. So here I have whatever you have on your brush is totally fine. Don't rinse it off. Just dip it straight into your black paint so that we have a little bit of black paint on your brush. I mean, I say a little bit, but you know, it's not a lot. That's all I know. And I'll start in the corners because we at least want the corners to be much darker. And my brush strokes are going to be up and down like this. See how it's very textural? I guess it's kind of hard to see because it's very shiny, but I can see a lot of texture, especially if I were to do these short brush strokes like this. I'm moving downward from that top, from the top edge right there. And I can see a little bit of my maroon peeking through simply because I'm lifting my brush and I'm just kind of swiping it across. We want that texture. We want that variation because that's going to represent just the fire's light bouncing off of different things in the background. So I'm going to concentrate those types of brush strokes in the two corners here, and then also just kind of bring them towards the center. So the two corners. When you need to refill, then go ahead and refill with either one of your colors. I'll go ahead and refill with the dark maroon just because I just made it. So refill with both the dark maroon and the black paint. So you're going to double dip. Got a double dip of black paint right on top. And I've already done this corner, so I can jump over to this corner. Swiping it down. Moving on towards the middle here. On the sides here, definitely want to have some longer brush strokes. And I can definitely see some of the maroon just kind of peeking through the black paint. That's a good thing. I wish it wasn't so shiny so you guys can see it a little bit better. But we can definitely see my my brush strokes. Finding my words. Trouble finding my words. Definitely see those brush strokes. You guys doing okay?
Page drying so fast.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, it does dry fast. But it also adds to that textural quality that we want too. It is annoying when you're trying to blend. anytime you're ready, you can also move to the other two corners as well. So you'll do the exact same thing. If you want, you can like flip your canvas over so that it's a little bit easier. But of course, you're going to want to refill with both those colors. So I've got the dark maroon plus the black double dipped right on top. And this time I want to work on these corners. So I'm going to move downwards now. Just swipe those brush strokes downwards. I will work on joining these two sides together in a little bit, but first I want to get the two corners and have them meet first. So I'm going to refill again with both colors. Down here, some of my brush strokes are longer, especially in the middle here. They're going to be a bit shorter. Can see some unevenness. I can see some of that maroon peeking through. Now for me, I want the very edges of the corners to be pitch black. I want them to be very, very black. So if you need to go and just reapply some of that black paint, just some of the corners there, feel free to do so. Because these areas are the furthest away from our fire. So they are going to be the darkest. So you can reapply just pure black right there in the corners and continue on with the rest of it. Just do a little bit right here. There we go. Very textural. Like I said, I wish it wasn't so shiny so you could see more of that texture. You kind of see it if I move it around a little bit. Now I am going to darken this up a bit more. I'm just going to give you guys another minute or so before I do that. Because right here, I didn't put any of the double dip black paintbrush strokes over here, which is why it's not shiny. But I am going to add a little bit of that in a minute or so. Maybe next time I do this, I'll do a green flame. I think last time I went camping, I was curious about what would happen to, I mean, I knew what was going to happen, but I threw some Oreos into the flame, into the fire, and it smoldered. Of course it burned up, but it was more like a red flame. It was a very red flame at first. It's really interesting. Okay.
So I have
again,
a solo stove, and they have these packets that you can throw into a fire, and it will give the fire different colors like blue and green
that's
and
so cool.
purple. And yeah, it is. It's
That
really
is
cool.
super cool. What do you call that? Like where did you even get it?
I got it from Solo Stove.
Oh, from Solo. Okay. So that's really cool. I gotta look for that.
It's one of their accessories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Pink flames or purple flames. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will refill my brush again, same process. So I'll grab some of the darker maroon and then double dip in black paint. And then I want to darken the sides now. So I can kind of go right here on the side and scrape some of this. It's going to look a little bit choppy, closer to this bulbous area, the bulbous area of your flame. But that's okay because we are going to cover it up with some of those other brighter colors. So if it looks a little bit choppy and odd, that's okay. We'll blend it in with the brighter colors like the yellow and the pink and stuff like that. I do just want to make sure I go up and down with maybe some longer brush strokes on the side here. And then maybe I'll shorten them once I get on the bottom of this teardrop. Just because I don't want to get too close to the flame. And honestly, we are going to be putting some campfire wood on the bottom here. So what you do down here doesn't really matter so much. On the bottom here, this is where the wood goes. So you don't have to worry too much about what happens down here. Now, while it's still kind of wet, because I do want it to be a little bit wet, at least in some portions of the painting, I want to reapply some of that maroon. So the lighter of the two colors that we created, I want to reapply some of that. So instead of double dipping with your black paint, we're not going to use that. We're going to use the maroon. So I can take whatever I've got here, even if you don't have anything, that's okay. Of the darker maroon here, and then double dip in the regular maroon. So just maroon. So now I want to start to give a little bit of this variation in the background here. You see these brush strokes? These brush strokes are gonna be bold. They're brush strokes and they're here to stay. They're here to be seen. So that's what we want. So don't be afraid of your brush strokes. I know it's kind of it can be kind of hard when we're not blending things in. So just maybe pick a spot or two and add some of those brush strokes. Add it there. I'm still swiping down. It's that very same type of motion that I've been doing where I just swipe it down, but I can go over some of them, and as you can see, some of them do blend into the background just a bit.
Are they going to stay are they going to stay looking like that, or are they going to be blended with?
That depends on whether or not you like it, because in this picture, some of these brush strokes, they do blend in, but others, we do want them to stand out. So it really just depends on how you're feeling about those brush strokes. So right here, as you can see, like some of it blends in a little bit. Definitely over here, it blends in a bit more. But up here, it's very bold, just like what you see here. It's very bold, and these brush strokes really stand out. So it depends on how comfortable you are. If you feel like, okay, I don't know if I want this part to blend too much, it's looking a little odd to me, then you can jump back into any one of your darker colors. So either your black paint or your really dark maroon color over here, and push it back. So balance that light color with a dark color on top. So now I can add some of this right on top, and it pushes it back. And I'm still doing those same brush strokes, the swipes. And now I feel a lot more confident in these brush strokes because some of it's a little bit bold, like right here, but then other portions of it kind of like sink back into the background. So how much blending you do really just depends on you and your comfortability with those specific brush strokes that you're doing. So I'll give you another example. I can go ahead and put some on the sides here. So I'll go back into my regular maroon. So it's my lighter of the two colors. And maybe I'll add some over here on the side. A lot of these brush strokes are a lot shorter as well. That helps me to control it a little bit better. And I can already see that these brush strokes, they're very bold. Those really stand out. I kind of like them that way personally, but I'll show you what it looks like when I blend it in. So you could go back to either one of your darker colors, okay? So just to demonstrate, I'll go into my black paint, and just a little goes a long way. So just tap a little bit, and let's really push this back. See how bold that black paint is? It really pushed back those maroon brush strokes. And that's okay too, because what's happening in the background is the light is bouncing off of a lot of different things. So all of this variation is a good thing. So now I can, maybe I'll add a little bit more of that black paint and really push back more of this over here. And it is okay to get some of that black paint or really dark paint closer to your teardrop here, because we're going to be adding those other colors on top of it. But just because I do want some areas of this to be very bold and, you know, have a lot of that maroon, I'll go ahead and leave some of that in here. Some of these brush strokes should be shorter, some of them maybe a little bit longer. Have a nice combination of all of those.
So you still just, I'm confused. You still just use two colors and black.
Yeah, 2 colors plus black. So not these, but these 3.
And none of them are brick.
Yeah, none of them are brick. Yeah.
And brick is brownish.
Yeah, brick is more of a brownish color. These 2 are more maroon. So maroon is what we made in the middle here. And then this one, it's just a darker version of maroon. So I just added black to this one. It's just darker.
All right. I'll show you what I did so far, but
yeah.
Whoops. No, I lost my canvas.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't have the part around the flame yet because it doesn't matter. I can make that happen. Yeah. You know, I can always like make my tear. I had a hard time making a teardrop.
Yeah.
So I'm not so maroony. I think I got more purplish.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that's really pretty.
Oh,
there you go.
No,
Now I
really
see it.
can't see what I did, but
that's pretty. That's really good.
yeah, it's just I did it like with an oil painting thing, and
then... yeah. See, that looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, whatever that aura is around the teardrop is. I'll make it work.
Yeah, no, I love that aura. That's really good. Yeah, you're definitely on the right track. You're doing really good. Now, something that's a little bit different on the bottom here, okay? Because I want you guys to imagine that, of course, your campfire needs a ground to sit on. You know, you got to put the camp somewhere, or the wood somewhere. So, closer to the bottom of my teardrop, I have more horizontal marks. So these right here. So I'll go ahead and put those in now. So those horizontal marks, and again, they're very, very loose. They're not actually lines. They're just suggestions, I guess. They're just horizontal marks. So I'll go ahead and take my maroon. Little goes a long way for this portion. So I'll take my maroon, and I can see here that this is where my campfire wood would sit right about here. So I can go ahead and use the thin edge of my brush. You see how it goes along like this? It's thinner here, to just kind of make these lines, these suggestions. I'm just swiping these lines from the edges here. That way it just gives an impression of a ground. Now, I also would like to give an impression of dirt. Like it's just the ground. So I'm gonna take the same types of marks that I did, the horizontal marks here, and I'll just kind of like brush in a few more. I say a few more, but there's like 20 or something here. Very loosely, like these brush strokes are just very lightly put in there. I'm just moving back and forth, just moving horizontally. A lot of these brush strokes are broken up. And even if I were to move my brush around and actually move it like a different direction, I can see that it gives a much more dirty look, so to speak. Now, personally, I feel like maybe some of these brush strokes could be pushed back a little bit. So again, I can also go back in and I can take one of my darker colors. So the dark maroon or the black, and go over some of them again and just kind of push those back. Maybe just sort of tame these brush strokes a little bit. Very brushy. I can use the flat side and just kind of brush it in there some more. It's giving me more complicated layers, which is great. And all I've done is add 2 different colors to the bottom down here. So maybe I'll add just a little bit more maroon just to bring out a little bit of that color. But other than that, I think I'll leave it as is. It's very choppy.
Do you think if I knew how to make layers, like this would be a good project for layers?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because then you could yeah, I think you could make layers.
It's gonna get real cuckoo once I start
Cuckoo.
once I start adding more things.
Yeah, and I think you would benefit from layering. No, I have my tablet here, but where's the pen?
Oh, don't worry
There
about
it is. Well, it's okay. I just while I'm waiting for everyone.
You know, the thing I did yesterday, this way, I'll just put it in your head. You know, those green, all the flowers I made?
Yeah, yeah.
I made with teal. And they came
Oh,
out
okay.
green.
Okay. Wait, what was the background again?
Well, it was whatever the background was, the yellow, the purple, the dark purple, the light purple, that kind of purple.
Yeah, yeah, but it came
find
out.
a color that was gonna make a pretty flower. And then I don't know, I came up with teal, and no matter where I was in the background, it just changed it into some kind of a green.
Green. That's so interesting how that works.
Colors, but yeah, so then
That's
I feel
weird.
cocky today, like, hey, I know how to do this. Like, but I don't.
Now, I want to show you guys how to do the finger painting now. Of course, you don't have to use your fingers. You can use your glove. You can put a glove on. And honestly, you could also use the same technique with a brush as well. And I will show you guys how to do this technique with your not your flat brush, your round brush, the pointy one. However, it looks a little bit different though, depending on which one you do. It's a little bit more hazy if you use your fingers. And that's why I wanted to do it, because I wanted that hazy effect. So I'm going to use not purple, I'm going to use pink first, and then purple, and then blue to give more of a variation, because again, this is the light bouncing off whatever else is in the background. And it's just creating this really pretty ambience in the air. And we'll put that ambience in using that pink and the purple and the blue. So if your paint is still a little bit dry in some spots, that's okay, because that's going to mix in with whatever you put on top of it. We want some of that mixing. So yeah, whatever mixes together is good. So I'll go ahead and pour out a little bit of my 3 colors. I don't really need a whole lot, because these are just small amounts of color in the background. So there's the blue, and then here's the purple, and then pink. I chose to do pink and purple closest to the flame, just because I feel like those colors are a little bit closer to like lighter colors. Blue, in my mind, I associate a blue with like a darker color, like nighttime colors. So that's why I chose to do blue mostly in the back, away from the flame. But you don't have to do it that way though, okay? That's just how I rationalize it in my head. Okay, so if you want to do the finger painting, which is what I recommend, so you'll take your finger, and a little bit goes a long way. So I'm actually going to tap some of this off a little bit on a blank spot. I don't need a ton of it. And pick a spot somewhere around your teardrop and start to swirl this in. That way it blends in. It's a very hazy effect, very smoky, and it's very distinct with finger painting. So I'm rubbing it into the canvas so that it looks very hazy. And this is going to be closest to the flame. So right outside of it. I mean, I can actually put it a little bit away from the flame too. But again, I associate this color with more like daytime, very light colors. So that's why I put it closer to the flame.
What kind of pink are you calling that?
This one, I don't know, like a candy pink. Pepto-Bismol pink, maybe that. Oops. Now for me, since I'm reusing my canvas, I'm pulling some of my paint away, so that's why it looks a little funny in some spots. But if you guys are using a new canvas, it shouldn't really do that. Okay, so that was the finger technique, okay? If you don't want to use your finger and would rather use a brush, then here's how you do it that way. I'm just rinsing my brush just because I have that maroon color on top of it. So just rinse it. Okay. So I'll take the same pink. And a little goes a long way. So I did work some into my brush, but I am going to just kind of wipe some of it away. And I can go back and forth, not back and forth, go up and down and do those same types of brush strokes that I've been doing with that other brush, except this time it's going to be with the pointy brush. But the amount of paint that I have on my brush is very minimal. There's not very much. And I can even like just kind of scrub it this way too. The texture is a little bit different, but it comes out to be similar if I scrub it. So I'm moving it round and round. That way I spread it. And again, a little goes a long way. Like I said, it's similar. Not quite the same though. You can kind of see it right there. I love the way it's blending in. So again, I've got the swirls, and my maroon is not really dry in this spot. I love the way the pink mixes in with it. I'm just gonna
So if you're
embrace
doing the
that.
finger painting, are you doing it all around like that, or should you switch to the brush?
I would just do it, just, you know, it's up to you. But I would just stick with finger painting. Yeah, if you already started with the finger painting, then just kind of you can continue with it.
Are you like staying near the flame or it's spreading out?
I was originally staying near the flame, but I actually like the way it looks when I go like away from the flame a little bit. So in the original, I stayed near the flame. Like you can see just a few like choice spots with the pink. It's very minimal. There's like a tiny bit up here at the top, but it is mostly close to the flame. Um, I'm getting a little out of hand with the pink because I love the way it looks when I spread it out more. So that's the difference between this one and the original.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. I will say though that I am gonna try to stay a little bit further away with the purple, and then again even more further away with the blue. And the technique is exactly the same. So you can start that at any time. So again, finger paint a little bit of purple in here, and I'll move outward a little bit more. So put some of this out here. Maybe I'll put some a little closer to the edge over here. Just have fun with it. I love the way the purple looks when it mixes with the maroon too. It's really nice. I like that a lot. I'll just add a little bit more up here just to make things a little bit more even. I don't want to neglect the like closer to the bottom though, because I know that I've most of the haziness, the smoke is up here. But of course, because this is fire and the smoke is going to get everywhere, I am going to add a little bit of the purple and the blue over on the sides here, and probably also down here just a little bit. So I'm going to swirl maybe some of this a little closer down here. There we go. Maybe I will add a tiny little bit more down here. I don't want that to look too patchy though. So I'm actually going to go back in and maybe add a little bit more black maroon on top of it. Because even with the haziness that we're adding, you can still add some of those darker colors right on top of it if you want to tone it down a little bit. Right here, I feel like I've got a little carried away with the purple. So I'm toning it down with my darker colors. Probably right here too. So far I've added the pink, and I've also added the purple. The blue, you can add the blue at any time as well. So for me, I'll add that little bit of blue, and I probably will have to tone the blue down a bit. But I'll start over here closer to the corners. I told myself that I wanted some more of my colors to be bolder and really stick out some more. So in the original paintings, the original, I only have maybe like this spot where the blue really stands out. I think I want a little bit more blue to stand out for my picture this time around. So I'm gonna do that. But if you feel like yours is a little bit too much, then again, you can balance it out with more of your maroon or more of your dark colors. So I can go back and add my maroon black combo here. And maybe I'll tone down this little spot here. Add more right on top of that blue. And suddenly it's pushed back, pushed into the background. I will add a bit of blue down here. Down here on the ground, I'm going to try to go a little bit more horizontal again because it's the ground. So just kind of, I'm still finger painting, but I'm just kind of moving my finger back and forth. And I feel like that's a lot of blue, so I'm going to tone it down with some maroon. Maybe a bit more than that. There we go. I feel a lot better with that. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and add a little bit of yellow now. So we're going to switch it up now and move on to the flame now. So I want to add some yellow with the finger painting now. It's just going to be the start of our haze. It's that yellow haze around it. So here is the original. And I'm talking about this area here. So this little, I guess like a stream of smoke that comes up. It's a thinner area, that's for sure. So I'm talking about this part right here, this part and a little bit on the sides as well. We want to add that before we put the palette knife on top of it. I'll go ahead and pour out my yellow now. We'll be able to do a bit more than that. Okay, got my yellow. And again, finger painting, but also, again, you can use you could do the same technique with that brush as well. Use the round brush. So I did have to wipe my finger off quite a bit because this is yellow. So tap a little on. And I want to really elongate this portion right in the middle here. I want to really take the this part here and start to swirl it upwards. I'm elongating that point. Swirling it a little bit, but also kind of moving my finger up and down a little bit as well, because it's that smoke is moving upwards. It's rising upwards. So some of my brush strokes or my finger brush strokes are going to be kind of vertical too. And it's absolutely okay if you get some of this paint on top of your actual raindrop, like in the white portion, because we're about to color that entire area yellow and orange and all those flame colors. So it's totally okay if you get some of that in there. And then I'll also add some to the side here. Again, kind of moving up and down. but also a little bit of swirling as well. I'm moving downwards a little bit closer to that more bulbous area. Definitely elongating it up here, closer to that top. I love this yellow. It's making me so happy. I think this yellow is a little bit different from the one I originally used, but I love it. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and put a lot more of this haze around the entirety of the raindrop, just to make sure that we definitely have some yellow behind there, covering all our bases really. Looks a little sloppy wherever it overlaps the white portion, but that's okay. We're gonna cover that up in a moment here. Where's my napkin? Now, you might be wondering when we're gonna paint the firewood down here. I actually painted it. It is one of the last things that I painted on here. Mostly because if we were to paint the firewood on there right now, it may not be dry enough whenever we actually put the flame on top of it. So I'd much rather not risk putting in some of the putting some brown into the actual fire itself. So we'll do the fire first, and then we'll switch brushes and do the wood afterwards. I just didn't want to risk getting that brown into there. But we'll go ahead and do the palette knife now. If you're still working on the background, still adding some colors into it, that's okay, because the background can be modified really at any time. So you can always come back to it at any point and push and pull those colors. I definitely want to get the flame in there. So we'll start consecutively from lightest to darkest. So my lightest, of course, is going to be that white paint. So I'm going to add a little bit of white paint with the palette knife. However, my main color, the majority of this color is yellow. So there's a ton of yellow in here and a little bit of orange, and even less amount of red paint. There's just a tiny little bit. So I'll go ahead and pour out a little bit of my orange now. And then also a little bit of white too. That white paint that we're about to add, think of it as like a cushion. Like, of course, it's there to represent the lightest portion of the fire, but it blends very nicely too. So we'll start off with white first, and that's going to be at the very bottom down here. I'll use my palette knife and I'll just kind of scoop up some of this white. I'm going to use the bottom of the palette knife. I'm holding it upside down right now, so my paint is at the bottom. So now whenever I actually do it, I'm going to flip it over and start to paint that in, scrape that in. And it is totally okay if you accidentally get some outside of the teardrop. But for the most part, I'm going to want to scrape it in. It's almost like you are putting icing on a cake, except it's really sloppy. Like you're not really trying to make it look super nice because it's a flame. I'm scraping it in there. Every time I go in to get some more, I'm scooping it out from this little paint pile. It's very thick. You can see like some of it is very raised. And that'll work to our advantage in a little bit whenever we add some of the other color, the yellow. So I added quite a bit of white. You can kind of see it glossy in here. But I was scraping it every single time, scraping it very sloppily, putting icing on my cake. Okay. Probably my favorite part is adding that yellow onto it. So no need to wipe off or rinse the palette knife. Just again, scoop up your yellow. Scoop up some of it. And I'm going to start to scrape some of that yellow, maybe starting from the top here. Start to move downward. You can definitely squish your brush down. That way it's a bit more flat, because mostly we just want to cover this whole area with that yellow. See how I'm just kind of smoothing it out at the top here. Once you get closer to the bottom, that's when we want to start to scrape it. Kind of like that in a more irregular way, a more irregular fashion. So if you think about fire, it sort of jitters and it moves very erratically. So think about your brush strokes whenever you're doing those motions. You can move a bit more irrationally, a little bit more uncoordinated, if that makes sense. So even over here, I can kind of put little bits and pieces of yellow closer to the bottom. Because when you observe fire, its core is going to be the whitest and the brightest. But it is going to have a lot of that yellow, or some of that yellow mixed in. And this is also the portion of the painting where we can move outside of our teardrop a bit. See how I can scrape a little bit on the outside now? Excuse me. And I'm kind of rounding it upward too. See that? I can kind of scrape it like that and kind of pick up my brush a little bit. Same thing up here. I can kind of start to break that barrier here and pick up my brush a bit. Think of more erratic movement. So if you want to like move your brush side to side, I'm sorry, not your brush, your palette knife side to side a little bit more. You can certainly do that, make it a little bit more jittery, especially as it gets to the top there. I'm definitely moving outside of my teardrop a whole lot more. my brush
Hairy-
strokes or my
Mine looks like a hairy cat.
hairy
It looks more
how
hairy.
does, how does that happen? I can't wait to see it. I can definitely see a lot of these areas where my white is poking through, and even on the bottom here, lots of white paint. But I can still go in and put a little bit of that yellow, just kind of scrape it in there, picking up my palette knife. The flames, they want to move to the side, but also upwards too. So think about that too. So they're moving to the side like that, like diagonally upwards, but also actually going upwards vertically. So I can even take some of these marks and put them up here, kind of as if the flames were jumping up, reaching upwards. Now for me, I can still see that outline, that classic shape of the teardrop. So in a moment, we'll be able to blur that using our orange. Everyone's in concentration mode. We're on the last portions of it. I know it's getting kind of late. So it's the flame really does go kind of fast. I want to show you the orange portion. So a lot of that is concentrated on the top and maybe just a little bit on the outskirts, on the sides of the the raindrop, the teardrop. So I'll start over on the top over here and really work on blurring this straight line right here. See how you can see the white showing through? I'll concentrate right there first, and I don't have to like wipe this off or anything. Just go straight in and scoop up some of that orange. Start up here. And I'm kind of wiggling it back and forth a bit. Trying to blur that line. If I were to press down a little bit lightly, I can have more of a solid wall of orange. But if I were to maybe use the side a bit and kind of move it back and forth between the edge and the flat side, I can get more of a variation where it's a little bit solid, a little bit not. Definitely want more of that texture, that line texture, a little bit closer to the center. Definitely want to blur this portion right here. It's nice to add some of these flames sort of jumping up here at the top. And again, I'm mostly concentrating this orange on the sides there, with just a little bit in the center here. I'm moving outside of my teardrop just a bit. So far, I'm liking it. It's really nice to hear those sounds, the sounds of the scraping. If I were to flatten my tool a bit more, you can see that I can get rid of some of that texture, but I can always add it right back in by scraping just with the very tip, just with the very edge there. Now it is nice to just go outside here and maybe add just a little swipe or two, just a tiny little bit of these flames that kind of kick off of the sides there. It's just nice to have those there out in the sides. That red paint that I mentioned is very minimal, but of course you can add more. If you really love that red color, then add more. I see a couple spots where I feel like I need to add a little bit more of the orange, so I'm going to do that. I'm trying to be careful not to cover up the white paint. There we go. And now I feel like I can add some red. So just a little bit. I have some that I hadn't used on the side here from whenever I was mixing that maroon. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color. Let's see if I can just kind of scrape a little bit up at the top here. That's looking pretty nice. Mostly it's going to be around the edges. So right out here. And again, I am going to target those white edges that are still poking through. Cover that up because I don't want that to be seen. Now this amount of red paint that you're seeing is way more than what's in the original painting. But that's okay. I'm having fun with this red. I really like this red color. I say if you like it, then do it. Just add more of it. Now all we have left is the actual firewood. That finger painting was a lot of fun. At least I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm here to use the gloves. I know Marcy, I saw you bring a glove out. Probably the smarter idea. I'm just so used to having paint on me and on my clothes. It doesn't really faze me anymore. The pieces of wood, I used brown and I want to see a little bit of yellow. Yeah. So down here, all I did was just very loosely, very quickly use my pointy brush, my round brush. Where did I put it? Okay, I've cleaned that off. So we'll paint in just these little quick little lines. They can be thick, they can be thin, doesn't really matter because firewood comes in all shapes and widths. So just paint them in just with, I want to say just pure brown, and then we'll add a little bit of yellow right on top of that. And then also we'll use the palette knife to swipe some of the yellow and the white right on top of it, just to give it some texture. So we'll take our pointy brush and pure brown, so just brown, nothing mixed in with it. And I'll just go on the bottom here, and these are just gonna jut outwards. So there's one right there, it's kind of a thin one. There's another one. These are all going to be just below the flame. And you can even have one or two that just kind of crisscross. Because no two pieces of wood are going to be the same, of course. So maybe I'll have this one kind of crisscross here. But for the most part, they're going to jut outwards from the bottom of the flame. Just give that a moment to dry before I put the yellow on top. Probably gonna pour some out. So I'll just kind of, excuse me, wipe the brown paint off. I don't want to rinse it because I don't want to risk pulling up some of the paint from the canvas. So I'll just wipe it off. And I'll take yellow. And I'll just put a few swipes of yellow just right on top of what I already painted in. It doesn't even have to cover the entire piece of wood either. Just a few swipes. It's just supposed to give the impression of light reflecting off of the wood. There. It's just a few swipes here and there, and you should be good. And some of those swipes are going to blend in with the brown, and that's great. We want some of that to blend. You can see it a little bit better like that. I like how some of my yellow haze out here kind of looks green if I bend it a certain way. I didn't add any green though. It just kind of looks that way. And then right after you put the yellow down on top of your pieces of wood, you can take your palette knife and you can put some white on top of it. I just need a little bit. I don't need a whole lot. And I'll just use the thinner edge of my brush, or I'm sorry, of my palette knife. Just scrape a little bit right on top of it. Just making some lines. If you feel like you need to add some yellow lines as well, in addition to the white ones, then you can do that. Personally, I kind of like it with just the white. But I'm just taking that palette knife and going back and forth. Kind of see that a little bit better if I tilt it like that. I'll just add a little bit more there. And I do want to open the floor now, since that was the last step. In case anyone wants to share, we would love to see your work.
Yay, it's our favorite time.
Go for it. This is a long one. I'm excited to see what you guys created. Anyone do any different color flame? Anything crazy?
I see people are still working. That's okay. If you're ready to share, just holler.
Oh, JP, I see you.
Oh, I'm coming.
There we go, JP. There we go.
There's the alien too.
I was looking forward to the alien.
I know. I was like, where's it gonna be?
I love that.
I did it with gold or silver paint.
Nice.
I love it. It's so cute. I especially love the bottom though, like the way you handled the ground, like the floor. That's really nice too.
Oh, thank you.
I love
Yeah.
how hot the fire looks.
It
I
yeah, it looks
It
very
looks
hot.
hot.
This is like
Yeah, yeah, like flame, like sun hot.
Yeah, like that thing is gonna toast your marshmallow hot. You're gonna
Uh-huh.
have some s'mores, some hot dogs.
Uh-huh. I love it. Good job,
Yes,
JP.
very nice. And we have
Thank you.
Laurel up next.
And this is my 1-year anniversary with you guys.
Oh,
is
no way.
it? What's next?
June 28th
Ah.
was the first painting. It was the moon, I think, in the trees.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
wonderful.
Wasn't that the veterans class? Is that right?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Oh, I love that.
I was upstairs
Yay.
sewing.
Laurel, that is so pretty.
Yes.
Seems
Look at
like a
Your
ball.
microphone dropped.
what was that?
It's it's on.
Okay.
There we go.
It's not irregular like a fire usually is. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like I don't know. It's like I did too much of it's I don't know.
No, I don't think there's too much of
No.
anything. It's
No?
very textural, and that's what I love about it. I love that you can see the individual textures
Yeah.
within the fire.
I love it.
I
Uh-huh,
think
and
it's a very well made fire. I think the person who
it
made the
is.
fire like knew what they were doing, did scouting, that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, the way your red blends in with everything that's around it is beautiful. Like I wish mine looked a little bit more like that.
Well, I have to say that first class he did last year, I was upstairs sewing a project, and we stressed out over I don't want to over prostate cancer and the surgery coming up. And he was down here with you guys painting and laughing and having the best time. And it made me so happy. It was so great.
Oh, Laurel. I wish I could hug you guys.
Yes. Well, that's what
I
we're here
wish-
for.
I know
Mhm.
so much.
Yeah,
Well, we
we
love
are so
having
happy.
you. We're so happy that you've been with us for a year, and let's keep it going.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to you both for sharing, and thank you for coming back.
Yes.
Henry, I see you.
There you are.
Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
that is a huge
Ooh.
fire. I love it.
Thank you.
There's something about the way you put the sticks down there. I love that they're a little bit more what's the word? Like you can't really see the complete shape of the sticks. I love that quality about them, and the way that you handled like the red in the middle, that's beautiful too.
Thank you.
And the top flame texture. That is so
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Thank
like
you. I
this-
thought it was too thick because it was like getting a little gunky.
No.
Yeah, I don't see any like yeah, no, it looks great.
Like a
No, it-
bonfire.
Okay.
That is a
thank you.
great fire.
Yeah, I
Hey.
didn't see.
All of you people know what you were doing. Like you people are skilled fire creators. I will say that.
As a pyro, I love that one.
It's a pyro.
All
Gotta-
right.
Oh,
Ooh.
Jamie,
Beautiful.
that
Hey.
texture is just
Oh,
so
that's
pretty.
beautiful.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
I
There
love.
you
Oh
go.
my
Looks like
goodness.
it's on fire.
It does.
It
It does.
looks like it's on fire.
I think it was so fun. I've never used palette knives before.
Yeah, it's super fun, and I love that you used so much paint that it's very textural.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Thank
That's-
you.
And
This
the
was super
color
fun.
around it. Oh my gosh. You
Yeah,
guys are on fire
especially
tonight.
I especially love like that little portion at the top where it bends just a little bit. That's my favorite part.
Kind of the
Thank you. This was a
smoky.
lot of fun.
Good, I'm
Great
glad.
job.
Thank you,
Marcy, I'm
Jamie.
coming to you.
There you are,
Oh, wow, look at
Marcy.
that texture.
Again with the texture.
Did
That
you
is
use the knife the
gorgeous.
whole time?
That's what I'm saying. It looks like a
Were
hairy
we
cat.
supposed to?
It's all
No.
hairy. It's not really flame-like. It's like
I
No,
don't
it
see the
is
hair.
flame-like.
I don't
like
see the
3
hair.
days.
But it was-
I'm especially loving the way all of you managed to get all of your colors to blend together really nicely. Instead of them looking really choppy, it looks just
Yeah.
very nicely put together and it flows really nicely.
Thank you. I gotta
Yeah, you
fix the
did
bottom
great.
gland.
That
The
does
ground.
not look like a hairy cat. That looks like
No.
a fantastic fire.
You see all those lines like hairy. It's like so. It's the first time too for me doing a palette knife, even though I've
Oh,
done.
nice.
It doesn't look it. You guys are being very hard on yourselves, and I'm looking at them
No,
like
I get
these
it.
are
I thought mine looks like a
fantastic.
ear of corn.
Like what?
I just want to
An
say,
ear of corn.
Marcy, Marcy, yours looks like it's in a cave too. I noticed that. It looks like it's like in a cave.
In a cave?
Yeah, but
I like your
Laura,
logs.
Yeah, Laura's wood looks real.
Wood looks real.
it does. And I have to say,
That's cool.
did you put purple
really
in the
is.
background? Because
Yeah,
I'm
I
loving
added
it.
a lot more purple with my like maroon and brown.
Okay.
That's my favorite. Me and purple.
Yeah, what an amazing idea though, because I really feel like it brings out the oranges and the reds in the fire a whole lot more.
And it looks so much better on the screen than it does like with my own eyes in person.
I
The
don't
logs
believe
look
that.
It still blows
Isn't
my
that
mind
funny?
every time.
Isn't that funny how that works? Like it looks different on a screen compared to in front of us.
Yes. And
I mean,
whoever
that is-
mentioned the 1 year anniversary thing, I think that same class was my first one with the moon painting with the big skull.
Oh,
I think that was also my first class. That was the veteran class.
yes.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing.
Happy anniversary, Laura.
And now I'm
Great.
hooked. Thank you. You as well.
This is so
Thank
great.
you,
Thank you,
Laura.
Laura. Great job. And now we got the party coming up.
Woohoo,
wow.
Holy
Whoa.
moly, that
Check
is
it out.
wow,
That's
that
a
is
fire.
a fire.
Now that's a fire.
Fire.
Yeah, how
Beautiful.
cool is that?
That
This
Oh,
qualifies
Zoom
as
is
a
on fire,
bonfire.
man. Whoa.
Put it
That's
up again.
awesome.
That is
I hope you hang
awesome.
that
Great
one up
job.
too.
Yes.
Put it up
Woo.
Yes, super cool a border there too. Like the
Too,
flame
yes.
the frame's really nice. Cool. Thank you, Party Monster.
Thank you. Oh, you're
You're on
muted.
mute.
You're muted.
Wanted to say thank you, Hannah. Thanks to everyone else. Everyone have a great night.
Of course,
Yeah,
thank you
you
thank
too.
you.
Hi.
Night.
Andrea.
Oh, Andrea. Yay.
I feel like I'm in class with a bunch of artists and I'm just a little
You're
preschool.
one of them.
No, oh my gosh, you did
No.
fantastic.
Got a little
Just-
crazy with the wood.
Hey, people are just piling on the wood. It's what you have to do.
To keep a fire going, you do.
Uh-huh. Just
I
the
love the sparks.
purple is just gorgeous.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
the purple, it really makes everything else stand out so
And
much
you
more.
put embers coming off too.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I love those embers coming on.
Yes, yes. Very textural in the background too. I love it. I think you did a great job.
Yes, you did
So
so
I will
good.
say I was trying to use gloves with
purple's
the
perfect.
finger painting,
Hmm.
but it kept drying up.
Uh-huh. It can't,
I don't
well,
know if maybe it's because my paint is old, but so I just had to keep dipping it in water.
oh, I see. Well, mine dried up really quickly too, so I wonder if it's like the paint brand. Because my paint is old too. That could be it
Mhm.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't use a glove, so
Right.
if
And
it
I
looks
remember
hazy,
the
you're
moon
good.
class, and thank you for this and everything you do.
Oh,
Of
thank you, of course, of course.
Of course. Thanks, Andrea. And now to you, Susie.
Oh, me. So I had a hard time with the palette knife because my hand wasn't holding it. So I finger painted the flame because the palette knife kept dropping.
Yeah.
I can't
Right,
hold on
yeah.
to it.
Gotcha.
So you
Yeah.
didn't get as much of the texture, right?
Yeah,
But
so
it
I
still
just
looks fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah.
It
So
it
I
still
just
looks amazing.
I finger
And
painted
your
it.
wood is awesome.
Oh, thank
Uh-huh.
you.
Yes. The
Yeah, the
background,
wood
the
is
wood.
beautiful. It actually looks like the wood is actually layered too, which is what I love
Yes.
about
Right,
it.
it sure does.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Did you go
Yeah.
on?
It wasn't a good night for palette knives for me tonight, so to hold on to it.
It's okay. Still looks fantastic though.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah. Great job.
Yeah, great job, guys.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Is
Thank
there
you, Susie.
anybody else who wanted to share that I didn't get to?
I have a suggestion.
All right.
You know, all those disclaimers everybody's making, throw them in the fire.
Yeah, that's right, Karen.
There
Throw
you go.
them in
Nice.
the fire.
Hey,
That's
Karen,
right.
did you share the link of your performance with Alexa?
Alexa,
Yes, we are
please.
actually going to share that in the follow-up email too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when
I
they
missed,
I'll
send,
put it in
I
there.
apologize,
And if
Karen.
oh no,
go-
you're good.
I
Whenever
missed
And if you
when
go
it was
into
live.
but if you go into Solo Arts Heal, it's not so much Karen's performance, it's the Karen and Alexa show. And when you know that we only spent 2 hours a week before, I only heard about it 10 days prior. We spent 2 hours, and that's the first time she and I ever really talked to one another. It was mostly me talking, and she just gave me complete artistic freedom. I gave her complete interview freedom. And up until the last minute, I kept changing because I went, oh, there's going to be people there with MS. Oh, there's going to be people there with chronic disease. What?
Go see them.
Or, oh my God, there's going to be Q&A. So that was an amazing, amazing collaboration.
it was such a great show. Yes.
And I've seen already almost 100 people have viewed it.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
How cool.
Well, I have to head out, but thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Susie.
And could we have the puppers come out and lead us as we say
Oh,
good
can I show
night?
you, Hannah?
Yes, yes. Real quick here.
Can you see I tried to add some to the bottom to give it some texture instead of so dark?
Yes. That
think
is a
That's
see what
really cool.
Giving it some like depth.
Yeah, it looks
that's
like
a
you can
great
see the
idea.
flame where, like the flame reflecting off the ground.
Yeah.
Because
The
it looks
lion-
dark and
The
it just
lion is going into the flame.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a
Yep.
lot of depth there. I think that was a great idea. I wish
Yep.
I had done that. I want to do that now.
I wasn't
Yeah,
happy
that's
with my
beautiful.
Aw.
Oh, baby.
Oh,
I need to take a picture of your finished painting.
Yeah.
I
I
like to end
just
on the dogs, but wait a minute, I didn't get a picture of your ending.
Oh,
yeah,
here,
word of
let
warning,
me-
my phone is at like
Here.
7% battery, so let's go ahead and get it.
Yes, here.
Good night, everyone. I'm out of here.
bye-bye.
Good night. Have a good night.
If I can find the button. There it is.
Sit in front of the fire and I keep working on it.
Doesn't
wait,
it play campfire? It's so beautiful.
Okay, did we
you
get the
guys did a
photo?
wonderful job.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job. I love seeing everyone's pieces.
Okay, and then now
Oh my
we
God, those
have,
dogs.
yes.
Oh, wow.
And now we will
Aw.
close out. All right, everyone, thank you so much for fantastic. Oh my gosh, yes, the high five.
The
Are you
cuteness
kidding me?
overload right now.
I
Yes.
love them.
Thank you everyone for such a great art
Aw.
class. We appreciate you guys so much, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon, and we will send you a follow-up
Thank
email,
you
and
all.
we're going to give you more details about some of the stuff coming up too. So let me hurry up before Hannah's phone dies. So thank you so much, and good night, everybody.